Here we go. So was Cooper Cup the real MVP of the Super Bowl? Do you think Joe Burrow could win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years? And what in the world are we all going to be doing between now and the start of the new league year? Well, I don't know if we can answer that question, but we'll try to find out the answers to those questions and many more as we begin our season finale of Fantasy Football Fever, which starts right about now.
15 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion and isolated cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to the final episode of the 2021 season of Fantasy Football Fever. What a season it's been. What a Super Bowl we had just this past Sunday. My name is Tim McClellan. You know my usual suspects, Mr. John Flynn and Mr. John Natali. How you guys doing?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I'm starting to kind of feeling the effects of the what will be known for the next few months as the NFL withdrawal symptoms, since there's going to be no football. But of course, the business of the league goes on 24/7. So there's going to be a lot that's going to be done between now and the start of the new league year. But anyway, I say we just go ahead and get in on some hot topics right here. Flynn, you were mentioning before we went on the air a little something that had to do with the thing about
Brian
what was
Flores.
it? Brian Flores. I had his name on the tip of my tongue. Brian Flores, the recently departed head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and of course, like I said, when that news first hit, that really had me scratching my head. So, what's the latest on that?
Yeah, I think what's being overlooked here is all the lead up into the Super Bowl and all that stuff, and the two most unpopular owners in the NFL each have their own situations where they could be forced to sell the team, and we'll start with the aforementioned thing with Brian Flores and we'll have to see if these allegations are true. We'll have to see how it holds up in the court of law. But in the 2019 season, the first year Brian Flores became the head coach of the Dolphins, Stephen Ross, the owner, allegedly paid Mr. Flores $100,000 for every time they lost because they wanted to tank and get the get the first pick in the NFL draft. And at the time, it was known as tank for Tua. So because at the time, Tua Tagovailoa was the top rated quarterback in the draft class, and then it was the same time Joe Burrow had the amazing season at LSU with all the star talent that took on there, and if these allegations are true, it's going to be likely that Stephen Ross is going to have to sell the Miami Dolphins. And if you're a Dolphins fan, and this is disturbing, but if you're a Dolphins fan and this makes Stephen Ross sell the team, I think you've got to be thrilled about it, because of all the different things that have been going on with all these wacky coaching changes and the timings of coaching changes and all that.
All right. Well, not only do we have that situation going on, but we do have a situation with the Washington. No, I cannot say that anymore. Because they do have a name. We were all caught up in the Super Bowl stuff on our last show that we failed to mention. There is now a name. I cannot call them the no names anymore. We cannot call them the generics. They are now the Washington Commanders. And Flynn, I believe there's a little trouble in D.C.
Yeah, so I believe so there was a former worker with the then Washington Redskins, as they were known at the time, who testified in front of Congress last week, and she made some pretty alarming accusations and allegations concerning unfair practices in the workplace, and Dan Snyder, the owner, who has been the owner since the late '90s, has had a history of unpopularity because of the way he treats his employees, and look and think about this. If you're Washington, the results of the last 20 years have spoken for themselves, and Washington hasn't been to a conference championship game since 1991, when they won their last Super Bowl, it's been a carousel at the quarterback situation, and for him to be promoting some terrible things, and for him not being caught up in the court of public opinion with how the public relations deals with the team name, and them being unprepared for the public pressure to change the names, and if those allegations are true, then Dan Snyder is going to have to the owners can force Dan Snyder to sell the team to somebody, and it would end a lot of eternal problems for Washington. So I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything to those things, because it's pretty clear that there is a short fuse when it comes to these owners that don't appear interested in winning, guys. Tim,
Natalie, you got anything to add with that?
No, not really. Flynn basically just pretty much covered everything, but basically we just have to wait and see what both sides have to say. Right now it's kind of arguing back and forth, yada, 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 yada. Basically both sides fighting like crazy, so...
Because with Washington and Congress and the NFL holding the results of the investigation private, and there could be something where the House Judiciary Committee is gonna have to might intervene, and Jerry Nadler, I believe, is who is a congressman from New York. I believe he is the head of the committee in Washington. So we'll have to see how that holds, but if this is what makes them sell the teams, I think both franchises should be happy, because they Washington fans do not like Dan Snyder, and Dolphins fans, and we all have Dolphins fans that we know, they all agree that they do not like having Stephen Ross as the owner, and this goes all the way back to when he foolishly fired Brian Flores, and I thought they recovered nicely given the circumstances with Mike McDaniel, and I think he's going to be great for Tua Tagovailoa. But of course Brian Dable didn't take the job with Miami because of Stephen Ross, and he took the Giants job because of Joe Shane, and John Mara letting Joe Shane call the shots instead of him, after what happened in the last several years with Jerry Reese and Dave Gettleman over with the Giants, but I digress from that point to give you those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, of course, Stephen Ross being under real hot fire after the Brian Flores incident, and of course Washington, Dan Snyder has never really been a very popular owner, in my opinion.
He was at one point, when the first season he became the owner was in 1999, when Washington won the NFC East, and I believe I think they won a playoff game that year, if I'm not mistaken. Yo, David.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Peter Jennings
well.
at ABC News
And we will.
headquarters in New York. Our coverage, of course, continues and will continue for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Ah, David Heller, you never cease to amaze me, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I am blessed beyond measure right now. It was a great Super Bowl. I can't
Yeah.
wait to talk about it.
Yes.
Yes,
So before you came on, we were actually talking about the controversy surrounding the Dolphins and the Washington Commanders. Of course, Dan Snyder with the workplace allegations, and then the Dolphins with the tanking allegations, and how Stephen Ross and Dan Snyder might be forced to sell their respective franchises.
Yeah, that's. Here's the thing. If you were to have asked me at the beginning of the year that both Dan Snyder and Stephen Ross would sell the Commanders and the Dolphins respectively, I probably would have looked at you and went, son, what the heck is wrong with you?
Yeah, I think well we need to have a collective, we need to have our own bingo cards next season, with all the crazy things that could happen, and
Yeah.
and that would certainly, events like those would certainly have to have merits on the bingo cards.
Yeah.
Huh, our own bingo cards. Now that would be very, very interesting to say the least. With crazy things, because there's a lot of crazy things that go on in this National Football League. But anyway, I digress. I like to go ahead and talk about this really big event, Super Bowl 56 from Inglewood, California. We had the Rams and the Bengals, and the Los Angeles Rams took care of the Bengals by a score of 23-20, which was a little bit lower scoring than what I thought. I thought that the Rams would beat the Bengals by a score of 30-24. But
You had the 24 right, just for the.
Neither one scored 24.
no, it was 23-20.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. I thought it was 24 20. Never mind.
23-20 was the score.
I'd say it would have been
And the Rams, ended up-
it would have been 24-20 if Johnny Hacker didn't botch that snap in the second quarter.
Yeah.
Right. That botched extra point, if I'm not mistaken, that was.
So
Flynn, let's
and
start with.
is that and that
Go
that
on.
officially screwed
Let's start with you.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
gonna say that botched extra point screwed a lot of people that had the 4 line for the Rams, because for the Super Bowl boxes. But I didn't do any betting this year for the Super Bowl, which. So, but if I did, I did say the Rams would win by 3 points, and I did say the difference of the game was going to be the offensive lines of both teams, and David's going to touch on some other things, but I think that the big difference of the game was the Rams' offensive line, which did not do a great job of run blocking, except for the 2 most critical run plays of the entire game. The 4th and 1 run play called by Cooper Kupp at their own 30-yard line, and they got big time blocks by right tackle Rob Havenstein and backup tight end Bryson Hopkins to set up the first down and keep the chains going. So that was the big one earlier in that drive, and then number 2 was the 2nd and 2 from the Bengals 16-yard line that the Cam Akers bulldozed his way for an 8-yard gain for that set up a 1st and goal and the goal line theatrics of that. But I thought the drive in and of itself, with everything stacked up against the Rams, that no Robert Woods, obviously, Odell Beckham Jr. tears his ACL in the second quarter of that game, so he was not unable to go, but for the rest of the way, and Tyler Higbee, their starting tight end, was out. So how did the Rams do this? They utilize Cooper Kupp in the areas where Sean McVay thrives in terms of running, in terms of seam routes, in terms of the fade routes. That Sean McVay called a goal line fade to score the go-ahead touchdown with a minute 25 left, and what says me more about Sean McVay is his ability to adjust to different personnel packages that they employ, and they can do so much, and that's why he's revered as one of the brightest offensive minds ever. So, because of his ability to adapt and the culture that everyone buys into to win football games, and the Rams' offensive line, but they did do a very good job in terms of the pass protection. Cincinnati's, though, not so much. 7 sacks on Joe Burrow, and Aaron Donald, took over the game on defense in the second half, and he proved why he's on the Mount Rushmore of defensive players in the history of the sport. And if the Bengals gave up 4 sacks or 3 sacks, the Bengals would have won that game. But they gave up 7. And I know one of them was technically a push out of bounds, which is credited as a sack. But the offensive line, we knew they were going to be bad, and that's why I picked against the Bengals. But they didn't show up in the second half.
Yeah, and I don't know if Flynn even mentioned it or not, but how about the many blown calls from the refs during the Super Bowl? I mean, one of them was the I guess the missed face mask call, or the missed PI, or a DPI, however you want to call it, but it was a missed call.
Are you talking about on the T. Higgins touchdown to start the first play of the second half?
Yeah.
They clearly missed that. It should have been an OPI against T. Higgins, and yes, Jalen Ramsey got beaten. He did not play a great game by any stretch of the imagination, but that definitely should have been called back.
Yeah. There were just so many
too.
you could look back on that game in general. Not just that one.
Yeah, yeah, not just that one. I'm sure there was a couple more. Probably have to go back through the highlights and kind of look back, because there seems like there's been a lot of non-calls or calls that were made when they shouldn't have, or calls that were not made when they should have. Yeah. Not just in the Super Bowl, but all through the season, especially with a few of the Cowboys games.
But I think with the Cowboys, it was just a matter of them not being disciplined. But in the Super Bowl, Ron Torbett, his crew officiated the game. So but he has a history of just letting them play, and the league set. And the league puts an emphasis on penalties early on in the season because that's where the biggest risk of injury takes place. Now it's a lot different in the playoffs where the most conditioned teams are usually the ones standing at the end. So I think but also, how about the 3rd and goal call? They called a pass interference, a defense pass interference on Logan Wilson against Cooper Kupp, but I thought that should not have been called. I thought it was a clean play by Logan Wilson, who I thought was the best of Cincinnati's linebackers throughout the season. So I think that thing needs to be talked about a little bit. But what would the Rams have scored on 4th and goal at from the 8-yard line? Probably because they would save a great route for Cooper Kupp for them. But I know Tim mentioned at the beginning though, guys, that Cooper Kupp was named the Super Bowl MVP with 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I want to get your guys' honest opinion on this. What was Cooper Kupp the real Super Bowl MVP, or should have gone to somebody like Matthew Stafford, or should have gone to someone like Aaron Donald?
I would say yes for Kupp, because I think if it wasn't for Stafford's interceptions, he would have had it. I think that's what did him in. Or if he had maybe one less interception, he might have had it too.
Yeah,
I think the interception screwed him.
I think, but the first interception I thought what was a mistake on his own right, because I guess he just recklessly threw it, hoping that a receiver would catch it, but it turned out to be intercepted by Bengals free safety Jesse Bates. And so, but the second one, it was a deflection off Skoranek, who came in as OBJ's replacement. It was directly off his hands, and Twitterverse was all over him for that, and he was the most hated man in the Rams fan base for a few minutes.
Yeah, and then I think Kupp converting that rush on 4th down, I think that's what pretty much sent him over the top.
Yeah,
to get it too.
Yeah. So, but was there a case to be made that Aaron Donald should have been the game's MVP because the Bengals had a lot of promising chances to score a point in the 4th quarter. Because you look at the first that drive when Cincinnati got the ball back with 10 minutes left, they pick up a couple of first downs and they seem to be primed to run out the clock with the way that Joe Burrow is managing the game. But is there something to be said about the Rams defense coming through in that spot?
Oh, yeah, very strong stop there. But I felt on that fourth one play, the Bengals should have ran the ball. Should have just gave it to Mixon for the rush, even though he didn't have a great game.
Which one?
I would have given it to Mixon, let him rush for it, and possibly something to get to overtime.
So which one? The 4th and 1 in the one in the 4th quarter that you would have had them run with Aaron Donald playing in the middle. Because think about the 3rd and 1 play where the Bengals were double covering Aaron Donald. They put the right guard and the right tackle, and they utilized Samaje Perine, which made no sense either. Joe Mixon should have had that call on the most important 3rd down of the season for Cincinnati, but I thought the play calling was pretty bad from Zach Taylor in the second half of that game.
Absolutely, yeah. I of course predicted that Stafford would win MVP, but after seeing what Cooper Kupp did, and I mean that guy is clutch. I mean, when you got a clutch receiver like him, I mean, you can't take him out of that equation. So, Stafford didn't get MVP. Yeah, you can't take him. But yeah, I'll give a nod to Cooper Kupp for taking the MVP. I mean, he deserved it pretty well. Dave, you agree on that one?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, there. You know, as far as MVP, Super Bowl MVP, yeah, obviously, Cooper Kupp is definitely deserving of that. But can we talk about this? Cooper Kupp is the first one. I think I heard about it on ESPN or somewhere else. I'm not sure, but I think correct me if I'm wrong. But he's the first one to win the Triple Crown and a couple of other things, and Super Bowl MVP all in the same season.
Yeah, and Jerry Rice, I think did that but the other receivers in my mind, I think Sterling Sharp did it in '94. But he didn't win the Super Bowl, and Steve Smith Sr. did it for Carolina in 2005. But neither one of those teams made it to the Super Bowl that year. But Cooper Kupp I had one of the greatest seasons ever for a wide receiver, and he was outstanding during the regular season, and he was better in the playoffs, and he was built like a quarterback. Yeah, but he had the speed to be a wide receiver in this league, and he only got faster, and Sean McVay and has maximized his talents, and we understood. Think about this for a second. I don't know if you remember the first time the Rams and McVay went to the Super Bowl was 2018, and 2018 was the year that that Cooper Kupp tore his ACL. In I think it was that week nine game on the road against New Orleans, where Michael Thomas went off for 180 yards and a couple of touchdowns in that game. So I think that the value of having a receiver that fits the system. And that's what Sean McVay employed when he first became the coach in 2017, and Cooper Kupp reaped the benefits of a system that plays to his strengths. And you can say things about Robert Woods. You can say that about Odell Beckham Jr. Think about what Odell Beckham was in Cleveland. That he was just a double agent, and he wasn't able to get anything done because Baker Mayfield was nowhere, not even close to being worthy of the number 1 overall pick, and I destroyed the draft pick at the time. I destroyed him. Well, we all destroyed him during the last few weeks of the season when he had those bad performances against the Raiders and the Packers, and meanwhile at that same time Odell Beckham Jr. began to thrive in the big spots with the Rams. We saw that in the game in that Week 12 game against Green Bay where he had a touchdown. We saw that in that Monday night game in Week 14 against the Cardinals, which I thought was the turning point of the season. That's when they started gaining some momentum toward being a Super Bowl caliber team, and put the Rams right back in that conversation because at the time they had lost 3 of the last 5 games, 3 of them to future playoff teams in Tennessee, San Francisco, and Green Bay. And the fact that OBJ was able to insert himself well in that offense, that's a great reflection on Sean McVay, and that's why McVay is the deserving champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the core that the Rams have, by the way, I'll just say this: the core that the Rams have right now, depending on what happens in the offseason, do I think the Rams could be back in the Super Bowl again? Sure. I mean, with the talent that they have, I don't see any reason why the Rams couldn't come back to the Super Bowl again next year.
And we were actually talking about that before we went live, and Tim, I told Tim this, I told Natalia this, that I think the Rams have an outstanding chance, and Les Snead, who developed the Ocean's 11 approach to developing a championship caliber team, which is quite the unorthodox way to bring about a championship caliber team, because we've seen teams in the last few years that have relied on the draft to bring about championships. We saw that with Philadelphia. We saw that with Kansas City when they traded up and drafted for Patrick Mahomes. We saw that in Seattle when Seattle had those rock star draft classes of 2010 and 2011, which those were the years when they drafted the players that became known as the Legion of Boom in Seattle that won them a championship. So, but the Rams took the opposite approach, and it's only fitting because that type of approach fits the Hollywood mantra that Stan Kroenke wanted when the NFL wanted the Rams to move back to LA in 2016, and then and then everything what the Rams wanted was with the new team with one of the brightest coaches in the league, and of course the $5.5 billion state of the art stadium that they have in Inglewood, where the old famous Hollywood Park racetrack used to be. Everything lined up the way the Rams wanted it to be, and having the Super Bowl in their own turf, and then being able to win a championship on the field where they play their home games in, and that's the vision that Stan Kroenke had, and it came to fruition.
Yeah, yep. I do think now the question becomes on the other side of the coin, the Bengals. I don't know if you guys might have talked about it off the air or what, but do you guys think that the Bengals might be back in the Super Bowl again next year?
I would say, I'd probably say maybe. I mean, one of the questions that I asked before the show was, do you think that Joe Burrow could win a Super Bowl within the next 5 years?
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and answer it this way. Unless the Bengals start drafting on the offensive line, no, Joe Burrow will not win the Super Bowl within the next 5 years. I mean, think about it. He took sacks, way too many of them. He took almost 100 sacks last season alone. I mean, for Pete's sake, that was ridiculous amount of sacks. And in fact, in the Super Bowl, at one point, Joe Burrow got hurt. I mean, the Cincinnati offensive line stinks, and that was probably one of the reasons why it costed the Bengals the Super Bowl. It's their O-line stinks. And that's something that needs to be seriously addressed in the offseason. Otherwise, Joe Burrow is going to end up in a serious injury, and he's going to end up being like the next Joe Theismann or some of the other quarterbacks that we all thought that were going to be great, but they just got hurt so bad that they couldn't play again in the NFL.
Yeah, I have there are 3 points where I disagree with you on this, David. Number one, in terms of how to fix the offensive line, I think they got to go offensive line in free agency instead of the draft because if you're in a window where you have a star quarterback like Joe Burrow on a rookie contract, you got to take advantage of that because we just saw. How he was able to beat Tennessee despite being sacked nine times, and that's something to be said. And Joe Burrow is going to want a mega contract extension. That's going to be a news flash within the next two or 3 years before his contract goes up. So no, the Bengals have to they have to address the offensive line via free agency this year. It's because you don't have time to develop somebody who can be an offensive lineman and go out there and be beat by Melvin Ingram or be beat by Adolfo Owe of Baltimore or Myles Garrett. You don't have time for that when you have such a small window to win championships. And look, this is the thing we have that the Chiefs are gonna have to face because the Chiefs under Patrick Mahomes' rookie contract, they went to 4 straight conference championship games. They went to 2 Super Bowls and won a Super Bowl. But the Chiefs could have won a couple of more championships. So if a couple of things went their way. But I don't know if the Bengals are going to be back. And look, there was the stat that curse was broken last year, this past season. But every year for 25 years, at least one team that made it to Championship Sunday wound up missing the playoffs the next year. And last season was the first time where all 4 of the teams from Championship Sunday return to the playoffs the following years. And I think when you look at the scope of the AFC is going to be brutal for years to come. Like you got to think about Kansas City, you got to think about the Chargers, you got to think about if the Denver Broncos actually trade for Aaron Rodgers. You also have to think about Baltimore. They're going to be back. There's no way they're going to suffer as many injuries as they did last season. You got to think about Buffalo. You got to think about you have to think about Tennessee or Indianapolis, whatever those teams decide to do. And so it's not going to be easy for Cincinnati to repeat because heck, I'll make arguments for Kansas City, Baltimore, and Buffalo to go back to go to the Super Bowl next year, and no one would pause me for that. And right now, Cincinnati is in my mind is probably the fifth to sixth best team in the AFC going into next season. So that's number two, and the number three. I think Joe Burrow is the 2020s version of Matthew Stafford, and Stafford who spent 12 years with the rebuilding since 1957 Detroit Lions. He goes to LA, wins a championship because they have a team around him, and Joe Burrow, the way he's able to win games in different fashions, both as a game manager and as a playmaker, he can do those things, because of the skill set he has and why it fits so well in the NFL and the way. And the way and the fundamentals he proposes. So I disagree with you on what approach the Bengals should take. I also think the Bengals should draft another linebacker, and I think the Bengals should also replace Eli Apple, who much to the delight of Giants and Saints fans was a train wreck for the Bengals, and he got beat several times by Cooper Kupp in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll say this about the AFC. You mentioned about the depth of the AFC. I'll just be honest, with the depth of the AFC that's going to be loaded next year, I really think it's going to be difficult for the Bengals to, perhaps even go back to the playoffs. Even that's just how good the AFC is. And here's the thing, the Broncos are absolutely one franchise quarterback away from being the Super Bowl contenders too. I do think that they could get Rodgers. What if the Broncos actually come after Jimmy, who I believe is going to be a free agent here this offseason, unless he has one year left.
Rodgers is under contract for next year.
Yeah. So Jimmy G is going to be a free agent, and if I were John Elway, if I need a franchise QB that is not just going to win one Super Bowl but perhaps multiple Super Bowls over the next 5-10 years, I'd go after Jimmy G. If I were to win, a Super Bowl right now, then yeah, sure, go after Aaron Rodgers. Sure.
I also disagree with your Jimmy G take. But Russell Wilson would give the Broncos a better chance to win than Jimmy Garoppolo. And you think that you saw Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes, he wins a lot of games, and that's part of what a quarterback does. But if you watch those games and the way San Francisco was able to get in to Championship Sunday, yeah, you had the debacle for the Cowboys, and the 49ers defense stood up to Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, and then when Jimmy Garoppolo had a strong game for 3 quarters. He threw for -2 passing yards in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game, and that's his last memory as the San Francisco quarterback. And Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be traded. Make no mistake about that, because I think Kyle Shanahan wanted to push for having Trey Lance as the starting quarterback, especially since when they traded up for the number 3 pick to draft him there, and I would have taken Mr. Mac Jones at number 3 instead of Trey Lance, but that's the case there. So.
Yeah.
But if Russell Wilson is on the Denver Broncos, I think the Seahawks would have an outstanding chance to not only to come out of the AFC West as division champions, but be a potential challenger to Kansas City, in Kansas City or Cincinnati or Buffalo, Baltimore. But and another reason why I was talking before the show about the Rams is the same for the AFC isn't true about the NFC. Like, who are the real Super Bowl contenders in the NFC? The Rams, the Cowboys, Arizona, San Francisco. I don't think with Brady officially retired as of now. We'll see if he actually pulls Brett Favre shenanigans on us. There's not a real Super Bowl contender in the NFC South with Brady gone and Sean Payton gone. If Aaron Rodgers does go to Denver, there isn't going to be a Super Bowl contender in the NFC North. Yeah, sure, Minnesota's going to win 11 or 12 games in an Aaron Rodgers-less division. But are the Cowboys the second or third best team in the NFC next year? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think they are.
Yeah. Yep. But just watch. We might be the second or third best NFC team, but watch. We're going to be a disappointment when we get to January football. You know?
Yeah, it's of course, like Stephen A. Smith says, it's in their DNA. What can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Prove me wrong next year. But that's just the way it's always been for the last 25 years. I was born in 1998, and I do not remember a appearance or championship involving the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's because the last championship Sunday the Cowboys participated in was in the 95-96 season, and neither one of us were born yet. So that's where it is now. But I would love to see how the Cowboys approach the draft. I think if I'm the Cowboys, I would get an extra linebacker because them employing 5 defensive backs and 2 linebackers annoyed the hell out of me as a football fan. You need linebackers, mind you,
right.
the line because you have Banderesh and Parsons, but you need another linebacker. And I think the Cowboys are going to have to draft a couple of linebackers and have them compete for a roster spot in training camp. So I would love to see how the Cowboys approach the draft. And mind you, the offense is excellent, and the offense was ranked was number 1 scoring offense for a reason in the National Football League. I think that they need to get another 2 linebackers, and I think I would also get a safety, and I would also get an extra defensive lineman. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, some mock draft I saw showed them taking some cornerback from Washington. I forgot his name. It was in that link I sent you, Tim. No, never mind. That's something else. It was some guy from Washington that they're favored to take. I forgot his name. He's a cornerback.
Yeah.
Corner from Washington. Okay.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to be all over that, and that might be the name I would like to see the Cowboys take when I do my Hooked on Sports mock draft special the week before the draft, but going back to I think your point on the NFC, that you could have an average football team win 10 or 11 games next year. Maybe a team like the Atlanta Falcons wins 10 or 11 games next year. Maybe a team like maybe the Philadelphia Eagles win 10 or 11 games again, depending on what Howie Roseman does over there. So So you can see some surprise teams being successful in the NFC next season.
Yeah. Because I mean, here's the thing. When we think about the AFC is totally loaded. NFC side, there's going to be so many teams, like the Saints, maybe the Bucs, unless Tom Brady comes out of retirement and pulls off the aforementioned Brett Favre shenanigans. The Panthers, obviously. The Seahawks, if and when Russell Wilson walks away. But let me ask, on the NFC side, let's just play the hypotheticals here. What if Derek Carr gets traded from the Las Vegas Raiders to an NFC team? If that were to happen, we don't know if that's going to happen or not, obviously. But if it did, would that change your perspective about any legit Super Bowl contenders on the NFC side, Flynn?
So I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I would say the legit Super Bowl contenders in the NFC are the Rams, Cowboys, and the Cardinals. Maybe San Francisco, but Dallas, you already have Dak. With the Rams, you already have Stafford. With the Arizona, you already have Kyler, and then with San Francisco, you probably gonna have Trey Lance, or who Shanahan fell in love with. So no, not in terms of the Super Bowl contenders, but in terms of playoff contenders, I've been on the record saying that the Raiders should trade Derek Carr, and I've been vocal about it since the Broncos hired Nathaniel Hackett and the Raiders hired Josh McDaniels. Look at this. If Derek Carr gets traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buccaneers are going to win 11-12 games next year. If Derek Carr gets traded to the Washington Football Team, the Washington Football Team wins 10-11 games. If he gets traded to a team like let's think about this. Maybe let's take a look at maybe. I don't know about Pittsburgh because they still need to fix their offensive line. So I don't think Pittsburgh would make a lot of sense. Though I do think that the Raiders' offensive line could have been better. I thought a better offensive line would have given them a chance to beat Cincinnati in the AFC wildcard game. So, but I think Derek Carr, he's proven to be tough, clutch, and he's a leader. And if he goes to a team like Tampa or Philadelphia, Washington, or New Orleans, I think I would instantly circle in that team as a playoff team. And I have my reasons for why I think Derek Carr should be traded because I think that they need to have a better roster. So and the only way to acquire the draft capital needed to start assembling a roster that can actually win a championship and break the coming up 40 years since they last won a championship. It all starts with trading Derek Carr.
Yeah. But what would happen if, let's just say, Derek Carr ended up getting traded within the AFC West and he ended up getting traded to the Broncos? Would that make the Broncos legit Super Bowl contenders in your mind, Flynn, or no?
Yes.
Wow.
So because you're going from Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock to Derek Carr, and Derek Carr. Let's think about this. In 2016, that was the last before this season was the last time the Raiders made the playoffs. The Raiders were on the verge of getting a first round bye. So but then Derek Carr gets hurt right before the playoffs, and he was unable to go. And Adam Schein at CBS Sports Network and SiriusXM. He voted for Derek. He's one of the 50 writers for the AP polling that determines the awards. He voted Derek Carr for league MVP. He was one of like 5 or 6 writers to vote for Derek Carr for league MVP. And that's what the Raiders are. That's what he brings to the table. Tough, clutch, and just wins football games.
They're just clutch, and they win football games. So, Obviously, let's just be honest that probably no matter what on the NFC side, can we all agree that the Seahawks are going to be one of the worst in the NFC? If Russell Wilson gets traded.
I mean,
I'd definitely say the Seahawks were probably the most disappointing team of the league this year.
For sure, at least. Flynn, what about you?
Oh, most disappointing team. That's a good question. I'll give you. So I think in terms of the expectations, I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens on this one. It's most disappointing team because because you think about the Ravens and what they're able to do. And they couldn't beat Pittsburgh at once this season. I thought that kept them out of the playoffs. And mind you, they were marred by injuries, but they had some winnable games in that stretch where Lamar Jackson was out, but the Ravens weren't able to get it done. So my list was Baltimore.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I would say on the AFC side, I have to agree. The Ravens, although the would be the Browns, despite the expectations.
Oh yeah, the Cleveland Browns. That's right. I in my mind, I was thinking Baltimore, but I remember I had the Browns going to the AFC Championship game preseason, and that turned out to be a flop. So it should have been Cleveland. So Tim and Natalie. So you've seen all 32 teams this year. So we gave our pick. So who do you guys think was the most disappointing team this year?
In my honest opinion, it would have to be the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Simply because Russell Wilson finishing under 500, first time in his career, very unusual. That's not like him.
Yeah. All of you guys going with Seattle, huh? I had Seattle making the playoffs, but Seattle didn't have a good roster. I thought the roster construction was poor. So because they traded 2 first-round draft picks for Jamal Adams, and the second one they traded turned out to be a top 10 pick. That they traded because they only won 7 games.
Yeah, it seemed like to me that the Legion of Boom just turned out to be the Legion of Gloom.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that was my pick.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So, but I think you all we'll all agree that a lot of the public opinion in terms of who the most surprising team is. I think a lot of people would have Cincinnati, but because they weren't expected to go to the Super Bowl. You take out the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, but I have a question for you guys. You take out the Bengals who went to the Super Bowl. So among the other 31 teams, which ones exceeded your expectations the most?
Ooh. Probably the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. And why do you think is that?
Well, they did quite well hanging in there with Indianapolis for their division, and even all those games when Derrick Henry was out, they still kept pushing.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why Mike Vrabel won Coach of the Year because it was either going to be like Kansas City, Buffalo, Cleveland, or Baltimore being the 1 seed in the AFC this year, but it turned out to be Tennessee, and I think. And I've known for a while Mike Vrabel could flat out coach. But I thought this was the best coaching job of his career, given the circumstances. But here's a team that I think surprised a lot of people. The Philadelphia Eagles. They made the playoffs with Jalen Hurts as the quarterback.
Oh yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Jalen Hurts. We didn't think he was quite ready. I'd say give him maybe 1 or 2 more years, and who knows what those chickens can do.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
remember the Eagles have 3 first-round picks this year, all in the
yes, they
top
do.
20. So,
Yes, they do.
which is the golden opportunity for the Eagles to reboot the personnel dealings within their franchise.
Yeah, assuming they don't do any trading, then yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
but barring any trades, they have 15, 16, and 19. So I think they might go wide receiver, they might go linebacker, and I think they might go another corner to go opposite Darius Slay. With their 3 picks.
Yeah, I found that website I was looking for. Let me see what this. It's just a random website.
So
Let's see.
is it the one that still goes that still has Washington as the Redskins? The Walt.
Let's see. It just has a W logo, so I guess it hasn't updated in a while. This is some random site called tankathon.com.
Oh.
Let's see. Let's see who they have the Eagles selecting. N'Kobe Dean as one of their picks, linebacker from Georgia.
Yeah, he played a big role in Georgia winning the game against Alabama last month.
And then Andrew Booth Jr., a cornerback from Clemson. And then, okay, I guess this website is wrong because it only shows 2 picks. Wait, what did you say there was numbers for? Oh, never mind. Keenan Green, offensive tackle of Texas A&M. And then for Tim's Cowboys, it shows Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington.
Trent McDuffie.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then for the Giants, they're projecting Akeem Uwanu, offensive tackle for North Carolina State, and then Kyle Hamilton, a safety out of Notre Dame.
Yeah. I think the strategy for the Giants, with what they have, and given that they're in salary cap hell and they're probably not going to be active in free agency. Listen, everyone's is pointing the Giants towards drafting an offensive line, but if they go with if Joe Shane goes with the strategy of best available player, I mean. Go ahead. I'm into that strategy. I think Joe Shane could absolutely help turn the franchise around with that. You think about the Bills and how that defense was built up to be the league's #1 statistical defense in the NFL this season, and it took picks like Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious White, and Micah Hyde and others to come up with that defense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to move on to a slightly different subject here concerning the Super Bowl. The halftime show. How would you guys rate it?
Yeah, it wasn't for me simply because I'm not a fan of rap music.
Yeah, I think because there are 2 different camps when it comes to the Super Bowl halftime show this year. If you were a hip hop rap fan, if you were born and raised in the 90s and listen to those jams as part of your upbringing, that was the type of show you want, and it was a lot of it depends though on the artists that are in there. So I didn't have much because I didn't pay attention that much. It's because I had to do some things around the house during halftime because I knew it was going to be 25 to 30 minutes. But it was very popular, and I think the NFL found a blueprint because they had years when they were doing rock and roll, and then. And then a lot of different genres with pop music, and then they brought this in to celebrate the Los Angeles Super Bowl. So you have to figure it's going to be back next year when the game is in Arizona.
I'll be honest. I did not watch the Super Bowl halftime show. I actually got up and got something to eat while all that was going on.
I was listening to it while I was cleaning up around my friend's house, and it was okay. I mean, I wasn't really much on the '90s hip hop scene. Maybe a couple of songs here and there was okay, but other than that, I guess I'm kind of more of an '80s person, you know. So
Yeah.
so that's so about me. But I saw
Hmm.
what I saw was on Facebook they were putting up some memes. One meme had James Hetfield, the lead singer of Metallica, and this other meme had the great country singer George Strait. And each one of them is saying, "When you're ready to have to see a real halftime show, let me know."
Mm-hmm.
So Metallica for next year, maybe.
See, I don't think that the heavy rock music is for for much of the younger generation of football fans though.
Hmm.
So, I think Metallica and Def Leppard seem to be more baseball themed for baseball fans.
Okay.
Because of course Metallica was the entrance song has the entrance song for Mariano Rivera, Enter Sandman.
Right.
Yes, yeah, but it kind of like depends on what type of fan base each sport has. That baseball tends to be more of a traditional fan base, an older, more traditional fan base than the NFL and the NBA.
Right, because there was a good string of years when they had the older stuff. The Who, the Stones, Bruce Springsteen, the E Street Band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
I loved the Springsteen halftime show when he did that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'll never forget. U2 and Prince and especially Michael Jackson.
Prince was so amazing. Do you remember he played in the year it rained at the Super Bowl and it was still raining and he played Purple Rain at the halftime show, which
You could not plan that. You could not.
No, you
plan
couldn't. You couldn't. That was the only year in the 56 year history of the Super Bowl where it rained, where you had an outdoor venue and it rained during the game.
I mean, when they had the Super Bowl over at MetLife Stadium, people were thinking it may be too cold. It may even have snow. But actually, they went through.
The thing about that MetLife Stadium Super Bowl was that the game was played that Sunday night, and then the next day, New York City got 8 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the day of the Super Bowl, it was actually quite warm, like it was today here, because because I think the temperature got up to 65 degrees in New York. Today, similar to what happened on that Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, next year's Super Bowl is in Arizona, right?
Arizona, yes.
Yes.
So just move a little bit from LA, go east a little bit to Arizona. So
Now let me ask you guys this question.
Uh-huh.
So the last 2 Super Bowls, we've had the home team playing the Super Bowl on their own turf, right? Do you guys think, and I'll start with you, Tim, do you guys think that with the Super Bowl next year, Super Bowl 57 next year being in Arizona, do you think the Cardinals could make it 3 in a row?
I don't know. I mean, the things I hear with the situation with Kyler Murray, I don't know if he's it's kind of like that '80s song, "Should I Stay or Should I Go?" You know, I mean, I don't know what he's hinting. I mean, I guess it's either the fans or either his relationship with his coaches or anything. But uh, if Kyler Murray wants out of Arizona or not, I'm not sure about that. But I do want to make a comment about this one meme that I've seen concerning this particular situation. I'm sure all you guys are familiar about that, but for everyone watching out there, since these past two Super Bowls have been played on a stadium where the home team is actually playing in the Super Bowl, they want to make a new rule. They want to put it at a different site so that there is no advantage for the home team or the road team, that nobody will be playing in their home stadium in the Super Bowl. So what they wanted to do is from now on have the Super Bowl played every year at AT&T Stadium.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that. that would be so perfect. This is because you think about
Yeah.
this. You
Yeah,
don't
you
see
think
who
it
they
would be
play
perfect.
came in. So
Yeah,
like,
you
when
think it
can't
would be
go
perfect.
wrong, will go wrong. It's just who the Cowboys are. It's just who they are.
Oh my gosh! I think we brought Stephen Bay. I think we've just brought Stephen A. Flynn back again.
You're damn right I did.
Yeah. Flynn, how about you?
So have the Super Bowl and have an alternative site in case
No. My question was to Tim and to everybody is, since we've had we've had two straight Super Bowls featuring home team. Do you think we have three in a row with Super Bowl 57 being in Arizona?
I think the Rams and Cowboys are better teams. So depending on how Trey Lance does, maybe San Francisco, but I think there are three, maybe four teams better than Arizona.
So basically Flynn, what you're saying is we don't get a three-peat then.
No.
Yeah, probably most unlikely for that to happen.
Yeah, Natalie, what about you?
Yeah, as of right now, I'm gonna say no, but it's also going to be dependent on like how well they do during the off season. Like first, we have to see how well they draft, and then we have to see what's going to go on later on. Are they going to sign any free agents, make trades, things of that nature? We don't know if they're going to build for the future or try to play better or try to tank.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't know, but even later on down the road, I'm still going to say no. They're probably going to be they'll probably be a playoff team, but not. I wouldn't call them Super Bowl favorites.
Yeah.
But here's one thing. Here's one thing interesting about the Super Bowl. You guys probably heard it, but now this marks the 7th year in a row a team that lost the coin toss won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think it's 8 in a row now with Cincinnati winning the coin toss and the Rams winning.
Yeah. But before I give my take on that, let me mention this. The last time a team won the coin toss that also won the big game was the Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl.
Yep.
Because remember that was the game where the first snap of the game Peyton Manning wasn't ready, and if that the game started with the safety, and that set the tone for the rest of the game, and it wound up being 43-8 at the end of the game.
Yeah, that's right. That was a huge fan of that one. But as far as whether or not we see three Super Bowls in a row featuring a home team. No. Given the problems that I'm hearing about with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals and everything else, no. As of right now, no. I don't think we get a three-peat. And besides, that's a rarity. If you think about it, it's one thing to get a home team to play in a Super Bowl in your own stadium. But to have it 2 in a row, bruh, that's just unusual and
Right.
historic.
What-
Because before that, we've never had a home team play in the Super Bowl in their own stadium. Never.
one thing I noticed that was weird was the Super Bowl, for some reason, the Rams, despite being on their own field, they were considered the away team for some reason.
Because every year the conferences alternate for being the designated home teams, and this year was the AFC's turn.
So what would place every year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So last year when Kansas City and Tampa played, but basically the only significant meaning of being the designated home team is two things. One, not having to make the calls on the coin toss, and B, determining what uniforms you want to wear. So there have been teams that decide to ditch the color uniforms and go with the away. With the away uniforms, but that's what Tampa did. I believe that's what New England did. What the year they lost to Philly, they went with the with the white jerseys because with their home jerseys the last two times before that were those two times resulted in losses to the Giants.
Wow.
Yep, and I just looked up something here. We are just 5 days away from the draft of the returning United States Football League. Yeah, I'm just looking at the official website right now, and they got 8 teams. Oh my God, these are almost the same names that they used back in the early '80s.
Isn't Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson running the league?
No. That is Brian Woods and Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought the XFL was going to be good, but then that was when COVID shut everything down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
COVID shut everything down again, and it just never recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
The XFL, they're talking about the XFL returning in 2023 after the failed merger talks with the Canadian Football League last year.
Yeah. But I'll be interested to see this new version of the United States Football League here. Got the New Jersey Generals, Michigan Panthers, Philadelphia Stars, Pittsburgh Maulers, Tampa Bay Bandits, New Orleans Breakers, Houston Gamblers, and Birmingham Stallions. And, of course, as some of us know, a lot of great NFL players did have some experience in the USFL, probably most namely for the New Jersey Generals, quarterback Doug Flutie and running back Herschel Walker. Two of the greatest names. Oh, excuse me. I don't know what just hit me right there. Oh, and I look at the Houston Gamblers. Houston Gamblers had a very young quarterback. You may have heard of him. His name was Jim Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always admired Jim Kelly. Cancer survivor. Man, he's still alive. He's still kicking. So it'll be interesting, but the USFL draft is 5 days away, so I guess some of us will be on the lookout for that. I'll be interested to see that. So now that football season is over, got NASCAR coming up with Daytona 500 this Sunday.
Daytona 500, yeah, that's
Yes.
right.
That's right. We just finished one Super Bowl, and now a season starts with their Super Bowl.
Yeah, and let me give everybody a quick update on that. The Roush Fenway Keselowski racing guys, they pretty much swept both duels. Brad Keselowski won the first duel, and Ricky Stenhouse won the other duel.
All right.
So because I don't follow NASCAR that much. I think I only watch it the day of the Daytona 500. So you guys might know better than I do. But who are you guys picking to win? Is it is it a familiar name? Is it a newcomer who might actually win the Daytona 500?
Well, I can comment on it because I am more of a NASCAR expert in this room. Here's the thing: it is rare to have a newcomer win the Daytona 500. Last one that I can remember of was, I believe, 11 years ago now. Trevor Bayne won the Daytona 500 in 2011, and he was in the Wood Brothers 21 car as a newcomer. So, other than Trevor Bayne, no, it's usually someone that we know of. Whoa! Something just came in my mind. It was Michael McDowell who won last year. So actually, take that back. Last year, it was someone familiar that, or someone who was not familiar who won last year. McDowell. So other than those two, Trevor Bayne and Michael McDowell, it's very rare to get a newcomer to win the Great American Race. It's usually somebody that it's familiar with, like Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, drivers like that.
I said when because I think one of the first Daytonas I saw was the green I think it was a green white checkered flag finish. I think it was when Kevin Harvick, I think his name was. I think 07, I think he won the Daytona 500.
07, it was, I'll just reenact it. Big crash, here they come, checker flag, Harvick!
So, was Harvick a newcomer then? Because
no,
he was a familiar name at the time.
Harvick had been in the Cup Series at the time.
2003, I think, right?
Since 2001, which he had to come in after, unfortunately, Dell Sr. passed away.
Oh yeah, I think tomorrow is the 21-year anniversary of that death.
Yep. It'll be 21 years tomorrow. So yeah, no, the 07 finish, that was not a green white checker finish. It was actually a straight up finish, but the caution came out right at the very end. It was a big crash, and I'll tell you this, it actually ended up with Clint Boyer. He basically came across the finish line. He finished sixth, but he came across the finish line upside down and in flames.
Jeez.
I mean, it was just nuts. So, yeah, I do follow a lot of and in fact, I'll say this: Tinsley are actually not that far from Texas Motor Speedway over there in Denton County, on the Denton County side of Fort Worth.
Yeah. So some of us might be enjoying NASCAR more. Some of us will probably enjoy the United States Football League.
Other people might be trying to follow March Madness, NBA.
Now my focus is going to be on college basketball. I talked about the. Yeah, and like I talked about the Big East, the Big 12, the ACC, on my Hooked on Sports podcast, which came out today, and I think the Big 12 is going to have three teams that can really compete to win the national championship with Kansas, with Baylor, the defending national champions, and Texas Tech, who beat Baylor by 10 points last night in their game in Waco.
Yeah, for sure. Normally, I'd be looking forward to the start of the baseball season with spring training and all that, but obviously,
hopefully,
that's not happening right now because we're still in lockout.
It says, and Jeff Passan tweeted before we came on the air, while exact plans are not finalized, Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball Players Association intend to hold multiple bargaining sessions, perhaps every day as early as Monday, February 21st, and multiple owners and players are expected to fly in for sessions leading up to Major League Baseball's stated February 28th deadline, the deadline that a soft deadline that baseball slated such that the opening day would not be delayed. Opening day is scheduled for March 31st.
They should have done it the whole time, daily.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. Jackasses.
Yeah, I mean, or if it was me, I would make them sit in the room and don't come out until you're done. Don't come out until an agreement is made.
I think Bill Clinton did that when the Democrats held the House and Senate in 93 and 94.
Yep. You're talking about the 94-95 strike. Yep, that's right. But you know, I just don't understand why they have not been meeting every day. I mean, and I think another big problem too is you're not seeing a whole lot of media coverage either regarding the MLB lockout either. If you think about it, you're not seeing a whole lot of coverage on that, like what we saw with the NBA lockout, that of course shortened the 2011-12 season. And then, obviously, the NFL lockout, especially the NFL lockout. I mean, we had coverage every single day back in 2011 with the NFL lockdown.
Yeah, I think a lot of baseball fans tuned out after the '94 World Series was canceled because of the strike.
Yeah.
I can't figure out which.
And I'm a baseball because mind you I talk lots of football because that's what I do and that's where a lot of the discussion lies. So but I'm a baseball fan more than I am a football fan, and it's sad how irrelevant. Baseball is becoming less and less relevant as time goes on, and if there actually was a competent commissioner, we would not have been in a situation where you had the fiasco in 2020 and then in the league forcing a 60-game season because the players couldn't come together on economic issues, but I think I think they're finally feeling some pressure to get a deal done and actually make hard choices.
Yeah, I can't figure out which commissioner is worse, Manfred or Bettman. I can't figure out which one of them is worse. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Manfred, absolutely. It's
Manfred, yeah.
I was thinking because I think Bettman caused the lockout. I think an entire cancellation and I think a half of the season in 2 separate years, I believe.
Yep. 0405. Excuse me, 0405.
But I don't follow hockey, so I can't really give an opinion on Bettman.
Right.
Yeah. I was about to say this also. Truth be told, some people don't like the current commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell. Well, here's the thing: Ron Manfred sure makes Roger Goodell look 10 times better.
I don't really have a problem with Goodell.
Because I think this was the point I wanted to make if we did the podcast on Sunday night. So you think about the brand of the NFL and you think of what of the types of innovations that lead to football becoming the way it is, like the introduction of Monday Night Football in 1970, the 1958 NFL championship game, which popularized professional football, and the way that game panned out with the result of that game, and then the dynasties of the 70s and then new innovations in the last 20 years like Thursday Night Football and viewers and media consumers like to watch reality TV and when you think about it, reality TV there's a form of that in the National Football League. It's like a live reality TV. You just don't know what's going to happen, and if there's an NFL game on, guess what? People are going to be watching the NFL. The product and the NFL, there's only 17 games in a regular season, and there's actually a meaning behind every regular season game. You don't get that in baseball or in basketball or in the National Hockey League unless there are games that decide whether or not a team makes the playoffs or not. But this is more true in college football than it is the NFL, depending on when the college football playoff committee decides to expand the college football playoff. That you have to treat every game like it's a playoff game, and knowing that. So that if baseball plays 162 games, every NFL game is worth 10 times that of a baseball game, or in the case of the NBA or the NHL, which play 82 games, 5 times more value in winning a football game than a basketball or hockey game in the regular season.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very true.
right.
Very true. So there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here between now and when the new league year starts. The next thing for the NFL, the big thing will be the scouting combine, which is coming up on March 1st, going from March 1st through the 7th. Get to see some of these draft hopefuls going in some workouts and seeing how they're going to be doing to see if they can raise their draft stock.
Yeah. So, and I think before you go, I think the tally mentioned to us that he has the schedule for the NFL within the next couple of months. Like when I thought you had that.
Yeah, that's what Tim is addressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going by that calendar thing I sent him.
All right.
Yep.
I think that is what he's doing.
Yeah, March 1st and 7th is the scouting combine, which will be at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And the new league year begins March 16th with the free agency period beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep, free agents, trades. That's when you can do it all. That's when the official offseason begins.
Right. So, well, guys, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to wrap this thing up and wrap up this whole season. It has been quite an experience. I gotta say, this whole season has been great.
Literally the biggest season ever because you have an extra week of games this year.
Right. And it was great to have John Natale. Oh my gosh. We gonna do this again?
We will be back soon. We promise. We just don't know when.
We just don't know when, but we will keep you all posted. And of course, don't forget John. Don't forget John Flynn with Hooked on Sports. I think Flynn, you told me before the show you're going to take a little vacation before you get back to it.
Yeah, I think next week for a lot of us sports fans is really a detox week. So it's because the NFL is over. So the NBA is on the All-Star break. The Olympics are going to be over on Sunday. We'll come to a merciless end with everything going on and the mess that's happened with the disastrous Olympics in Beijing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'll admit that I have not been watching a whole lot of the Olympics this year.
I watched the Olympics religiously when I was younger, but I haven't watched an ounce of live Olympics this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it says a lot of things given the circumstances.
Yeah, and also I'll say this: I've been sort of a bit as well because here's the thing: I do not have my local Valley Sports Oklahoma RSN, which is the Oklahoma Thunder RSN, because I don't have it in my DirecTV package, and honestly, when we used to cut the cord, we had like Hulu, Sling, all that. Well, every streamer except for DirecTV Stream have just basically told all the RSN chains goodbye.
Yeah, because Sinclair Broadcast Group owns all of them, and that's what they have.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just Sinclair. It's NBC. It's AT&T. It's even the independent ones, the altitudes, the SMYs, you name it.
Oh yeah, and by the way, Thursday Night Football is going to be on Amazon with Al Michaels next year. By the way.
Yes.
That's gonna be nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Amazon's
Al
going to be
Michaels
making a
not
lot of bucks.
totally. Yeah, so the great Al Michaels not totally retired yet. I mean, but he's just moved over to Amazon Prime Video. I'll be glad to see him doing that.
Yeah.
Just y'all be sure to listen to Hooked on Sports. We got 3 of the links where you can listen to it right here in the description area. So get him. He's got a lot of stuff to talk about on his latest episode. David Heller, it's great having you, buddy.
Thank you. I wish the love of my life, Irene Namer, was here, but
Oh yes, our lovely
Irene couldn't make it.
Yeah, Irene couldn't make it, but I do want to thank her from the bottom of my heart for helping build the technical part of this show and to make it the way it's been. That woman is a creative genius. I got to tell you that she is a genius. And
from the
of course,
sideline, a flag
and on
on
her
the
part, I got
play, like Julio with them.
yeah. Tim, you're muted.
we can never forget that.
Yes.
Never forget how much Irene will always love Tom Brady. So I want to thank Irene for helping build this show. Thank our commissioner, John Talley, John Flynn, David Heller. We're on a hiatus for about the next couple of weeks. We'll come up with something before April or probably around March or something, but it won't be too big of a thing, but we'll let you know. So it has been a great season. My voice is almost lost right now, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this show and gargle with a little bit of salt water. So, thanks.
And of course, all the coverage is going to be on abcnews.com, on the radio, on TV, but ABC news coverage will continue, period. Thank you very much. I'm Peter Jennings.
Oh, yes. Well, don't forget about that. Don't forget about that. She's just letting y'all know. So, on behalf of the whole gang here, my name's Tim McClellan. It's been a great run. We'll be back very soon, but for now, we're just going to take a few weeks off to rest and recover and detox, as Flynn said right there. So, y'all, be careful out there. Take care. God bless you. We love you. And as always, be a good sport. See ya.
15 seconds to air. Stand by, all cameras.
Ready with slow motion and isolated cameras.
Stand by, videotape, and roll tape.
And tape is rolling in less than 5, in 3, 2, 1.
Take tape.